Hi everybody, I'm here at the school board in
St. Louis Public Schools.
St. Louis Public Schools. Deidra invited me.
Yes.
And you're going to have to say your title because I can't remember it.
Okay. Deidra Thomas-Murray, Students in Transition Coordinator and Foster Care Liaison.
So first, thank you so much for having me. We just interviewed 2 homeless moms, and they were wonderful because they were getting so much help from you. I mean, it's just positive. But I was talking to Deidra earlier, and in the 7 years she's worked here, youth homelessness, children homelessness has risen from 1,700 to 5,000.
Over 5,000. 5,068 students.
And that is crazy. You want to tell me about that?
Well, when I first took on the position, I just thought that students were under-identified. And so we put together a team here at St. Louis Public Schools and just became vigilant with the support of our school social workers, school counselors, school nurses, secretaries, and our parent facilitators, and we just did a better job with identifying students and families.
So if you are not aware, we have a crisis in this country with homeless families and homeless youth. And I would wish these positions, schools shouldn't have you guys.
Right.
But thank God they do,
yes.
Right? You know? And there's rural schools this is a pretty big school district, so you have a lot of different resources. And there's an issue about identifying and counting. So one, the younger students, or not younger students, the younger children who haven't reached school age yet aren't counted. So when we say over 5,000, it's well over 5,000.
Right, yeah, and I think that number is under recognized because we have students that aren't identified. So a lot of times if children aren't in a crisis or aren't in need of support or services, they never make it to our office.
So you go into the shelters.
Yep.
And you were talking earlier, you used to be a foster mom.
Yep.
And you identify and you build these relationships and you help homeless families all the way around, almost full service.
Right. And I think now we're trying to put a lot more emphasis on students that exhibit challenging behaviors because they're easier to fall through the cracks and they're not as likely to complete high school. So we're trying to be vigilant about staying on top of unique cases. In fact, this is the first year that we've begun putting a red dot on follow-up. So if families come through with unique challenges, we know if their folder has a red dot, we have to consistently follow up with that particular family.
So it's got to be so hard on the families, and especially the kids. The one mom I was just talking to, for 5 years, she's going from couch to couch, to floor, and so a lot of these kids have to have, behavioral challenges and be acting out and different things.
And not just behavior, just trauma. It's difficult. I think I shared with you, I came here homeless as a result of Hurricane Katrina, and during my homelessness, I had 5 different addresses in 1 year. Prior to Katrina, I had lived at the same address for many years. And so for many of our families, when everybody's stressed, the emotions are high. And if you're all living in inadequate housing, you have 5 families in a 2-bedroom house, they're fighting, they're arguing, and being further traumatized. And so when they get to the schools, even though it doesn't look like home, it's hard to adjust. And so they bring the drama and the trauma to the school.
Right.
And so as educators, as administrators, we have to be equipped to better service families. We have to get outside of our comfort zone. Homelessness doesn't look like somebody pushing a buggy. It looks like somebody angry. It looks like somebody's fighting. It looks like somebody's seeking safety or having to use a safe address. because they are being targeted for domestic violence.
Right.
So it doesn't look the same anymore. And if we keep looking through a dirty lens, we're going to keep missing the mark and not servicing families at all.
Now, I know the Department of Education counts a lot of these situations as homeless, but our government doesn't.
No. But let me say this, under the McKinney-Vento, the law looks a lot different than with our local government. So with the McKinney-Vento, homelessness looks like substandard housing. It looks like families without utilities, without running water, too many people in one house, or having to meet the criteria for a permit. Whereas with the local government, doubled up isn't considered homeless because they have a roof over their head.
Right. And the federal government, too. It's not just local.
Right. But under the McKinney-Vento, which is a federal act, these families, students are covered educationally.
So McKinney-Vento was a law that was passed almost 20 years ago, I believe, quite some time ago.
I think 1987. And I don't count too good.
Yeah, I'm a drummer. After 4, I don't get it. So, but anyways, it's a law to help homeless kids and homeless, and it's really, comes up a lot for different votes and different funding, and it's so important. It's one thing that you can do at wherever you are, is to support any kind of legislation that comes through that helps homeless families and homeless youth, because it's getting worse.
Right, and it's getting worse, but really the goal of that law is to eliminate barriers, and to when children are in school, they're safe. They're more likely to learn. They're definitely going to get meals. And so what happened was, children who were homeless, they didn't have proof of residency, proof of guardianship. So that law kind of paves the way for these families. You don't have to have this to get in school.
Right.
Get in school, we'll figure it out along the way. So legally, they have the right to immediately enroll. And the goal is to remove those barriers.
Any last words you'd want people to know about homeless children going to school and homeless families?
I just think the key is, today is me, tomorrow is you. We become homeless for different reasons. For some, it's domestic violence. For some, it's tornadoes. For me, it was a hurricane. I just share with folk, homelessness has no respect of person.
Right.
Families are losing jobs, families divorce, and you end up in unique situations, not by choice. Things happen. And so when you encounter families, look through a lens with sensitivity and not with judgment. I always say you can be the doctor and you can help heal, or you can be the judge and give a life sentence. And homelessness is not a life sentence. Yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Thank you.